Hey everybody, this is Raichu here again, and welcome to another Pokemon Movesets video. Today's video is going to be all about Alolan Raichu, so let's get started by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, ability, and stats. So to start things off, Alolan Raichu is an electric psychic type Pokemon introduced to Generation 7 as an alternate form to the Generation 1 Raichu that's been around since the beginning. And with this new, unique electric psychic typing also comes a new ability that's currently exclusive to this Pokemon known as Surge Surfer, which doubles this Pokemon's speed stat under the effects of the electric terrain field condition. However, aside from these differences, stat-wise, Raichu and Alolan Raichu are almost identical. The only difference is that Alolan Raichu has 5 more points into its special attack and 5 less points into its physical attack than the regular version of Raichu. But overall, it fits the pretty much exact same role, being a speedy offensive attacker, obviously as you can see right here with its great base 110 speed stat, while also simultaneously being very frail because its HP, its defense, and its special defense are really not that high. So while this Pokemon will be outspeeding a ton of things and dishing out a lot of damage, more specifically as a special attacker with Alolan Raichu, you do have to keep in mind that it won't really be able to take hits that well, so be cautious of priority users, especially those that pack either the Sucker Punch or Shadow Sneak, with both of which are then super effective to this version of Raichu because of its psychic typing. But with that, let's take a look at the first moveset that I have for you in this video. So for this first moveset, we're going to be running Raichu as a speedy special attacker with a ton of type coverage to allow it to match up really well against a variety of Pokemon it might be up against. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Timid nature to boost its speed but lower its physical attack, and go with an EV spread of 4 defense, 252 special attack, and 252 speed EVs to max out its special attack and speed. And as for the item on the set, we can either go with the Choice Scarf to boost our speed while locking us into a move, Choice Specs to boost our special attack while locking us into a move, Alolan Z to give us a super powerful move when combined with Thunderbolt, Life Orb to boost the power of all of our attacks at the cost of losing 10% of our health every time we damage our opponent, or an Expert Belt to increase the damage of super effective moves, which on this set, you have a very high chance of packing one against whatever you're up against. But for the moves on the set, the first one that we're going to be going with is going to be Volt Switch, to not only be your main electric type attack, but also a great move to allow you to weave in and out of battle and possibly grant your team Switch initiative. In addition, we're also going to be running Psychic or Psyshock as a stab psychic move of choice, Psychic being a little bit more powerful while hitting your opponent's special defense, whereas Psyshock is a little bit weaker but hits your opponent's physical defense, so that can be very useful in a pinch. Additionally, we're then going to be running Grass Knot as essential coverage, especially against those opposing ground-type Pokemon that will be immune to your electric-type moves. And then for your last move slot, either running Focus Blast for yet another coverage move, or going with Thunderbolt to give you an additional electric-type attack that's a little bit stronger than Volt Switch and doesn't switch you out, and also to potentially be used in combination with Alolan Z to give you your signature Z move. Now additionally, if you're going to be running this set on a rain team, I would actually run Thunder here in this last slot because it's going to have 100% accuracy in the condition of rain while also being a significantly more powerful move. So do keep that in mind as an alternate option as well. But overall, this set just has a ton of coverage and allows Raichu to really pack a move pretty much for any situation to at least damage its opponents for some significant special damage. As for this next set, we're going to seek to augment Raichu's sweeping potential even more by giving it a setup move to either make it more powerful or more speedy against its opponents. So we're going to start this one off by giving it either a Timid nature to boost its speed but lower its physical attack, or a Modest nature to increase its special attack but lower its physical attack, and this time going with the same EV spread as before to maximize your special attack and speed. But for the moves, the first one that we're going to go with is going to be our setup move of choice on the set, which is either going to be Nasty Plot to boost our special attack by 2 stages, or Electric Terrain to set up the electric terrain that will then be activating our Surge Surfer ability and also give us increased power on our electric type attacks. Both of these moves work very well, and it's really dependent upon whether you want more special attacking power with Nasty Plot or more speed with Electric Terrain. But regardless of how you use this, Thunderbolt, Psychic or Psyshock, and Grass Knot or Focus Blast will be your moves of choice on the set to give you as much coverage as possible while also focusing on providing you with powerful special stab moves. As for the item though in this set, again a Life Orb here is included to boost the power of all of your attacks, whereas Alolan Z is also included here to give you a super powerful Thunderbolt when you make use of the signature Z move that goes along with this item, Or, as a more defensive option, you could also possibly run a Colbur Berry on the set, which is actually going to reduce the power of a super effective Dark-type move directed at this Pokemon, which on a more sweeping set like this one, can be very useful in saving this Pokemon from being revenge KO'd by a Sucker Punch from your opponent. So this option is very cool and allows it a real great option to deal with potential revenge killers on your opponent's side of the field that may be packing a super effective Dark move. Now, in addition to being a great sweeper and setup sweeper, Alolan Raichu also has the added benefit over the regular version of Raichu of being a reliable dual screener. So we're going to run this particular set as a way to capitalize on that. So again, we're going to go with the Timid nature, the same ability, and the same EV spread as before, but for the item this time, we're going to be running the Light Clay item to allow us to extend the turns of the screens that we're going to be setting up from 5 to 8 to continue to support Raichu and its teammates for a longer period of time. So for those moves, Light Screen is going to be there as your first one to set up a screen that will increase your teammates' ability to take special hits, and Reflect will be there to increase your team's ability to take physical hits. And both of these moves are great on a speedy Pokemon like this one because it has a very high probability of outspeeding something to then set up the screen. And along with this, we're just going to be running a stab move in the form of Psychic or Psyshock, again depending on if you want to hit special defense or physical defense, and then again running Volt Switch on this Pokemon to give it that ability to move in and out of battle and allow it to just switch right out after it does its job of setting up the screens. But this is something that I find to be very cool on this particular Pokemon because the regular version of Raichu does not learn Reflect, so this one actually has the added benefit of being able to set up both of these, whereas the other one cannot. Moving on to the fourth set of this video, we're going to be running a Parafusion set designed to frustrate your opponents. So we're going to start this one off again by giving it a Timid nature, the same ability, and the same EV spread like before. But for the item this time, going with Leftovers to allow this Pokemon to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn, which is going to work very well in combination with our first move on the set, which is going to be Substitute, which will be a move that will allow us to get behind a protective barrier to shield us from attacks and statuses while we attempt to Parafuse our opponents. So in order to confuse them, we're going to be going with Sweet Kiss as a way to confuse your opponents and making it more difficult for them to attack you, thus possibly allowing them to hit themselves in confusion while you get a free substitute. And then we're also going to be running Discharge as a different electric type move to go for because it has an increased chance to paralyze your opponents, a 30% chance for that matter, while also still being a pretty good electric type attack, which is why we're not going with Nuzzle or Thunder Wave here because even though both of those have a 100% chance to paralyze your opponents when they hit, Discharge is still just a better attacking option so that Alolan Raichu still does have a decent electric type stab option. But for your last move on this set, you're going to be going with Psychic or Psyshock for a stab psychic move, or going with Knockoff on this set, which can be very useful on a more utility set like this one, because removing your opponent's item can be very useful for you and your teammates, in addition to obviously trying to cripple them with paralysis from Discharge and confusion from Sweet Kiss. Finally, for the last moveset of this video, we're going to be running a Sub-Calm Mind set for Alolan Raichu to make use of. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a Timid nature again to boost your speed and lower your physical attack, but this time running an EV spread of 12 HP, 244 special attack, and 252 speed EVs, mainly as a way to allow this Pokemon to have an HP number that's divisible by 4, which is going to be more important when I talk about the item a little bit later. But for the moves on this set, the first one that we're going to go with, again, is going to be Substitute to get us behind that protective barrier and make our time setting up a lot easier, which we're going to be doing so on this particular set through the use of Calm Mind, which will be boosting our special attack and our special defense by 1 stage every time we go for it. Now, in addition to boosting our power and making us a little bit tankier on the special side, we still have to run a couple of attacks that are going to allow us to really have the best potential at sweeping your opponents, while also tanking special hits a little bit better. So we're going to go again with Thunderbolt and Psychic or Psyshock just as stab options for the set to give Raichu its best coverage possible with just its most powerful moves that I can make use of. But for the item, we could either run Leftovers, again like on the previous set, to recover HP at the end of every turn, which will be helpful for all the HP you're losing from substitutes, but you could also run a Select Berry on the set as a way to boost your speed stat once you fall below a quarter of your health, which is why this HP number is significant, because after 3 substitutes, you will then activate your Select Berry automatically, thus making you faster and able to take or make use of your boosted stats from the Calm Mind and possibly sweep your opponent's team. So it's an alternative way of running a boosting set on this Pokemon, similar to the second set of this video where you had Nasty Plot or Electric Terrain, but this one does function a little bit differently and can be more useful depending on the type of opponents that you're up against. But anyways, everybody, that is it for this video on Alolan Raichu, so thank you all for watching, and as always, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.